Good morning, everybody. It's Wednesday. I'm positive that it's Wednesday. And guess what? Today we have a new special guest. Paris happens to be a celebrity in Canvas land. And Woody, you guys already know, is a longtime special guest, friend, and celebrity around the Canvas world. We are super excited because today they're going to break down some of the kind of the top 5 support issues that we see with Canvas. So tune in. Hang on, ask your questions. You might get some special answers from Paris and potentially from Woody throughout the next 30 minutes. Looks like Amber's already with us. Good afternoon, Amber. I don't know where you are, but thanks for joining us, maybe East Coast. With that, let's start with Woody and Paris. Let's hand it over to you to introduce yourself, and good luck.
Hey everyone, my name is Woody Roper. I'm the senior trainer at Instructure. I've been with the company for about 5 years, and it's my pleasure to go ahead and talk about some of the top 5 Canvas support issues. And let me go ahead and just introduce Paris. Paris, go ahead.
I'm Paris. I've been with Instructure for over 6 years now. I've been on the support side for about that same time. New trainer, recently transitioned over, and I'm super excited to be here today.
And one of the things you may or may not know about me and Paris, what we share in common is that we actually come from an area of support when it comes to Instructure. So we've worked with clients one-on-one when it comes to all of those issues that could possibly come in using your Canvas course. So we'd like to go ahead and kind of share our insight with our top 5 Canvas support issues. So we're going to go ahead and just start that up right now. So starting with number 5, teachers and students. Teachers and students, I still see completed or old courses on my Canvas dashboard. So Paris, what's that all about?
So typically when courses become concluded or just they end, a lot of times students, teachers will still see those old things on their dashboard. They're not entirely sure how to remove them. You can't just delete them. So a lot of times it just comes to, you simply need to unstar them off your dashboard. It's a super easy, simple fix, but sometimes it's kind of hard to know, like, oh, I have this old class. Like, why is this still showing up right now?
Exactly. A lot of students and educators don't realize that visibility to those past courses are really controlled by your admins through your terms. All right. And there's really no way to just delete yourself from a course. So if you're kind of running into an issue, like, for example, this dashboard showing a chemistry course right here, fall 2019. Hey, spoiler, right now we're in 2020, but this course constantly shows up on the dashboard. So you might get a teacher or a student saying, hey, I don't want that to be there anymore. A couple customization things you can do with the dashboard already is that you can drag and drop items as well. If you need to move something, just go ahead and just pay attention to those 3 vertical dots right there. It does give you the option to move. But the reason why I'm clicking on this is actually going to give me some functionality. When I click here and hit move, there might be an option that says unfavorite. And if you see that, that's a way to go ahead and hide and archive that course just to remove it from the view of the dashboard. Notice when I hit unfavorite right here, it's going to go ahead and just give me the prompt to remove it from the dashboard. Doesn't mean it's deleting the course or anything. You still have access to it. I'm just going to hit submit. So it's going to go ahead and take that away. Now, if you didn't have a favorite or unfavorite option there, you can go ahead and favorite those courses or manage them right here in the global navigation menu. And it's going to be right here on the left-hand side. Click on courses and take a look right down here for this option, all courses. It's going to bring you into this menu of all the current courses that you're teaching. And also, if you just kind of come all the way down to the bottom, you'll see past courses. But I want you to pay attention right here. On the left-hand side, you're going to notice all these little stars happening. And if you want any course to show up on your dashboard, you want to go ahead and click on one of these stars. So for example, if I want Introduction to Psychology, I want to click on the star or favorite it, and it's going to show up on the dashboard. And if you want any of these courses not to show up, for example, if I don't want geology to be there, I want to unclick that star. It's all or nothing functionality. So, and you don't have to save the page. All you need to do now is go back to the dashboard to see those changes. All right. Well, anyways, that is our 5th most reported item within Canvas. So when it comes to number 4,
Woody, before you do that, really quick, Amber, Sandy, Kate, Ronaldo, everybody else that we have on this, we've got a pretty big group. Any questions on that number 5? If there's any questions, we'll pause for about 20 seconds. Any questions that you don't understand that you want? Not very often do you get Woody and Paris just all to yourselves. You get to ask anything you want related to that number 5. We'll do this after every single one of the top 5. If there's a quick question or you didn't understand something, come at us. The timer is on. It's not really, but
music.
Okay, nothing coming in yet, Woody. So let's keep going to number 4.
All right. Well, anyways, number 4, here it is. How can I give a student more time in a quiz? Paris, what's that all about?
So a lot of times you'll get teachers that will reach out to us here in support, and they won't be sure what features they need to use to give their students more time in a quiz. And it's something that's found in the quizzes, and Woody will go over it, but this is a pretty common issue that we run into all the time. And it's super simple fix. It's just knowing how to navigate to that area so you can give your students more time or maybe even extra attempts on a quiz.
Yeah, so a lot of times when it comes to giving a student, what we're talking about right now is giving an individual student or maybe 1 or 2 students more time, because the quiz itself probably has like a 15-minute timer for the whole class. You need to make an accommodation for, say, 1 or 2 individuals. So there's a couple things that you want to keep in mind. One, you need to go to the quizzes area of your course. And you need to be dealing with a published quiz. For example, here's an unpublished quiz that's not going to present you the options to moderate. It's called moderating the quiz. And moderation is going to show up here on the right-hand side. But once you publish a quiz, you're going to see right here, it looks like it just appeared, the moderate this quiz option. Before I click on it, again, sometimes when we're building a quiz, let me go into the edit area of the quiz. Sometimes we're looking in this area to moderate a quiz, and it's not in the settings. You need to be out of the quiz or save it right here. And find yourself in the save space of a quiz published and look for that moderate option in the top right-hand corner. And once you hit moderate on this quiz, it's going to give you a full listing of all students within your course. To give an accommodation to one of these students, all you're doing is coming over here to the right-hand side, just locate that little pencil. Once you click on it, it's going to go ahead and allow you to give more attempts. Please note that it does say, hey, everyone already gets 1 attempt. So let's go ahead and just give this student 1 more attempt right there. There is this option right here. We get a lot of questions about this, like, hey, manually unlock this quiz for the next attempt. That's because if you have some type of availability window and that window has already passed, even if you give this second attempt and you do not check that option, the student will not be able to access their second attempt. So this is kind of like that golden ticket or that way to bypass the availability window that allows the student to take their full timed attempt. I'm going to go ahead and just hit save here. If that quiz had some type of time limit, you need to give the student more time instead of another attempt. Same thing, make sure that you're accessing a published quiz and go into the moderate this quiz area. Go ahead and select on an individual right here by just clicking on the pencil. And if this is a timed quiz, you will see extra time on every attempt. Everyone already gets 15 minutes. Go ahead and give that student an additional 15 and save it. You'll actually be able to see that that student gets right here an extra 15 minutes on each attempt. One thing to note about classic quizzes here in Canvas, it only remembers the accommodation for this student for this quiz. So you will have to go to your next quiz, set the accommodation or the moderation for that same student if their accommodation is the same from one quiz to the next. We do have a new quizzing platform. Perhaps we'll probably give a training for it down the road. We train on that in the training team all the time, but just note that on the new quiz platform, it does remember the accommodation for those students for every quiz moving forward. Paris, anything?
No, I mean, otherwise that's a pretty common question that we get asked in the support side of things. We also have really good documentation that also walks you through that as well.
Anyone have any questions? All right. Well, anyways, let's go ahead and take a look here at number 3. So number 3 is...
Hold that train, Woody.
Okay.
Hold that train. We got Karen Lloyd here on Facebook who is wondering, while we've got these very smart people, does the extra time that you just talked about in quizzes, will that also work with due dates on other assignments?
Paris, I'll go ahead and let you handle that one.
So the extra time, that's just quiz specific. That wouldn't work for assignments per se. If you were wanting to give a student extra time on, like, let's say an assignment, you would utilize then the assign to the due dates area, and you can set specific time frames for someone on an assignment. You only get the moderate quiz feature with just specifically quizzes.
And I believe it, just to kind of demonstrate, if I need to give more time or an extension on when a student can submit to an assignment, as opposed to taking a timed quiz, all you're doing is going into the assignment settings. I'm just opening up this assignment right here, and I'm going to scroll all the way down to the very bottom, this assign to area. This is what we call differentiating the assignment due date. Right now, it's assigned to everyone between these times, but if I need to add an accommodation when someone can submit to the assignment as opposed to changing it for everyone, notice that there is an add option underneath. And once I select the add option, I can go ahead and choose any of the names of the individuals here, and I can give them a different due date and a different time that they can go ahead and submit. And also note that it's anonymous, meaning that students don't see each other's accommodations when they go into the assignment. They only see their due date and availability window.
Awesome. Amy, I know you're thinking, I am the only person that gets these questions over and over again. Paris can attest, as someone who is probably more ingrained with what we've done in training than almost anyone at the company. And these questions come in all the time.
Yep. Super, super common questions.
Beth, good to see you, my friend. Extra time applies to all future quizzes. Yes, yes, yes. See if we have something here from Patricia as well. I have a lot of data to upload. I'm a private use subscriber. My district does not use Canvas. How can I get more data space?
Go ahead, Paris.
If she is on Free for Teacher, all you need to do is really put in a support request and support themselves. If you're on Free for Teacher, we can up your storage limit for you. Otherwise, if you're not using Free for Teacher and it's like through a normal regular district, then that would be a request with your admin, and they can up your storage limit.
Awesome. Looks like Kendra, I'm syncing with PowerSchool Gradebook. Will giving students a different due date mess up that sync?
Go ahead, Paris.
So it shouldn't mess up the sync. It should, everything should just kind of transfer over. So if you change it over in Canvas, that should apply over. And with things like PowerSchool, we actually specifically have a support team that handles issues and anything that happens with different with your different SIS systems, so PowerSchool specifically. So if you do run into issues with anything like that, it's nice to know that support has a team that's dedicated for handling just those things. So you can always put in a support ticket and we can help you out and see. Because sometimes the data passback systems can be a little quirky here and there.
Awesome. Paris, we are getting asked here on YouTube, can we provide the documentation specific for extra time?
Yes.
Paris will send that to me in a minute, and then I will put that in the comments for everybody. Last question before we move on to number 3. How can I identify a resubmitted assignment in a course with 3,000 plus students who have been added to grading book groups if I don't know what grading group the student is in?
So
I have a tip after you.
in SpeedGrader, every time there is a resubmitted assignment, you'll see a little tagline on the right-hand side that'll say that it's been resubmitted. And you do have the ability to still go see their original submission, but SpeedGrader will give you a little red indication saying like, hey, this has been resubmitted. It'll also show up in, if your school's using New Gradebook, it'll show a little color indication that it's a resubmitted assignment as well.
Yep. If I were you and I wanted to just see all the resubmitted assignments recently in a course, I'd go to the gradebook and go to that specific grading column. For example, let's go ahead and just pretend this column right here. I can actually arrange the column or sort by. I can go ahead and sort by missing and late, and also note that our statuses can filter on resubmitted assignments as well. So I would have it, hey, look for all those green blocks within that area. And okay, this is obviously a resubmit, this is a resubmit, and this is a resubmit, and so on.
I lied. That wasn't the last question. Woody, Paris, don't hate me. Amber wants to know, everybody should be on the new gradebook now, right? Is that the case?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, I think everyone should have now. Yeah, everyone should now have switched over to new gradebook at this point.
Awesome. I hope everybody on there, we've got a big crowd, of course. Everybody understands how valuable it is to have Paris and Woody one-on-one. Well, one on, about 50. But keep these questions coming in. Let's go on to number 3, but don't hesitate to ask other things if you have them.
All right. So this is so number 3 right here, and I'm showing it from a student's perspective. A student will probably contact their teacher, or if you're in higher ed, a student, if they have tier 1 support, they can go ahead and call in, but they'll say something like, hey, I'm getting an access denied error when I click on a link. And on 3 up, I want to go ahead and actually showcase a tool that's going to really help you out as far as identifying what is the student even talking about when it comes to your course and seeing those issues. So I'm going to go ahead and head over here into this course. And I'm going to use something called Student View, and you can access your Student View from the home page of your course. Every Canvas course has a built-in test student, and it's critical that we all know that, because if you want to see your course through the eyes of a student, well, you want to use Student View to actually see those issues, because as a teacher, as an educator in our Canvas course, here's a spoiler. We can see everything, all right? And that includes things that students can't see. So for example, a student in my course says, hey, when I come into this course and I click on click here for syllabus, I get an error. Well, I just get that email. I'm like, hey, what is this student talking about? I don't use Student View. I'm the teacher. I click on it. Hey, works fine for me. What is the student even talking about? And then that's how that kind of dies, right? What you want to do is you want to make sure that you're using Student View to recreate that issue, because again, the student's the one saying that that's happening. So here's what I would do next time. I would go ahead and be in the home page, come over here to the right-hand side and use that Student View. And now I'm looking at the course through the eyes of the student. The student says, hey, when I click here for syllabus, it's not working. So click right there. That's what the student is seeing. And a lot of times, again, we really miss out on what the student's seeing because we're just trying to click on it ourselves and try to recreate the issue. Use Student View so you can see that. Now, a couple things right here. Why is this happening? I'm going to go ahead and leave the Student View for now. What's happening with this particular link is an issue we see all the time, is where when a instructor or a teacher is building their course, they remember that they had a link in an older course, like from, 2 quarters or last fall, and they just grab that link and they paste it into their home page. This link right here, this click here for a syllabus, that links to a course from fall 2019, not spring 2020. Now, it works for me as the instructor because I taught that past course. I still have access to that past course. But hey, guess what? The students in this course, they're not in that past course. They're not in your fall 2019 or last quarter's course. They're in this course. So any links that they want to click on, it has to be relevant for this course only. So one of the things that I've done is it kind of hover over it, and I'll be able to see what the course number is down here in the lower right hand corner. It's a little hard to see, but in Chrome, when you kind of hover over a link, it's going to show you the URL on the lower left hand side, and it's telling me it's from course ID 496, and I can see up here in my URL I'm in course 239. All right. So I want to make sure I update this link with the syllabus that's in this course only. What do you think, Paris?
Yep. Yeah. Another super, super common issue. And we get that question a lot from students, because students will call in and they're like, I'm just trying to access my stuff, and my teacher says it works, but it's not working. So then the students then at that point think it's something on their end. It's also important to kind of know, as support, when we do run into issues like this, we will typically we'll CC in the teacher on an email letting them know, like, hey, just so you know, this link is broken. This is how you fix it. So when we do run into those issues, we'll typically let the teacher know as well when we send out our follow-up email, just letting them know, hey, this is how you fix it. Because sometimes the teachers don't know. A lot of teachers don't know about that link validator tool, and they just kind of are like, here's my course, it's ready to go. And then students will find the issues.
Exactly. Any questions?
That's number 3, everybody. We got 2 more, but again, you only get Woody and Paris for a short amount of time. So keep those questions coming. I want to make them squirm a little bit. I want to make them feel like, oh no, do I really know that answer? Of course they know the answer, but bring it on. Okay, Woody, let's go on to number 2.
All right. So number 2 is similar to number 3, but it's a different scenario. Link says site cannot be reached. This is a broken link in the course. The previous one, you get that access denied error. That means I'm trying to access something in a course I'm not in. But sometimes you just have what we call in support broken links. And this is what it looks like. And it can happen to pretty much anyone, whether it's a student or a teacher. They go ahead and click on a particular area here. Like, check out this interactive map. When you select it, you're going to go ahead and get this site can't be reached option. All right. Well, there's an option within your course, or functionality within your course, that where you can run what's called a link validator that will run through your entire course and find all of those broken links. And you can access it in your course. In fact, this is kind of like a best practice after you've taken an old course, or maybe your fall 2019, you've imported it into the spring for your spring students, to run the link validator to make sure that all of those links are still working. Because who knows, that external link that you've put in your course that worked last semester, last quarter, maybe that site is down, or maybe that link's been changed. So you can access the link validator by, again, in your course, coming over here into settings, and go all the way over here on the right-hand side. You're going to get a couple of options right here, and you want to locate that last option right here, validate links in content. Just go ahead and select on this, and I'm going to go ahead and just restart the link validation, and it just runs through the entire course looking for broken links, and it allows you, and it gives you, if you noticed, a link to every one of those broken areas in the course. Clicking on it will take you into those pages, those quizzes, those quiz questions, the home page, wherever the link validator finds something that's broken, and allow you to fix it. And when you're done, you can go ahead and run the link validator again, just to make sure that you've got everything repaired.
Cool thing is it also picks up images that are broken too. So if you've maybe imported a quiz from somewhere and the images didn't come over, it'll tell you. And that's super awesome, being able to find out, hey, I have broken images in my quiz before you give your quiz. So this is a super awesome tool to run. Like, as soon as you kind of import everything into your course, if I were to say, like, if a teacher was like, hey, what's something I should do after I set up my entire course? Run the link validator. Save yourself trouble.
Woody and Paris. We have one from Karen here on YouTube. How can I view a log of a student's activity by time spent? on content?
Go ahead,
So-
Paris. That's good. Go ahead.
In Canvas, from the people page, when you click on a student's name, so you can kind of get an idea, and depending on your role, so if you're a teacher, you can kind of see how many times they've gone to a specific content item in your page, maybe like a quiz or page discussion. If you're an admin, you have full access to see something called page views. So it really depends on your role, but teachers still have something, it's called student activity. Let me find the guide on that so we can give that to you. But yeah, it'll give you kind of a base, like an idea of like, hey, has the student been accessing this thing? How many times have they maybe viewed the page and so on?
Something I can add to that, Karen, is you also should have a tool in your course called New Analytics. And if you don't see this, just contact your admin and have them turn that on your course. I can access the New Analytics in this course right here underneath the student view. And I just want to go ahead and just kind of just show you briefly what you can see, because we get those questions a lot. Like, how do I know that a student's gone and looked at a particular announcement? Do I need to message a couple of students that, need to take a look at this page or the required reading? Here in New Analytics, we can go ahead and right here, it does show us course grade, weekly online activity, and students. I would switch it over to weekly online activity. And then I would go down to the actual resource that you want to go ahead and take a look at. Like, for example, looks like students, when it comes to the course homepage, right over here on the right-hand side, we've got 190 views of it. And if we want to see specifically what a student has looked at in general, meaning individually, we want to go and select on students and then choose their name. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of pick up here on junior. And now I can go ahead and not only just look at his grades, I can take a look at weekly online activity. And when it comes to activity, I can actually see those specific items by just clicking on the day, and it shows me the resources that student has actually been on specifically in the course. And it allows me to see page views and participation. And just if you want to know the difference between a page view and a participation, a page views is looking at something for about 2 seconds, leaving the page, come back to it for 2 seconds. That's another that's another page view. Participation is actually taking a quiz, submitting an assignment, replying into a discussion, and so on. And you can actually download this data, and you can also communicate with that student as well right here from the analytics page. Just go ahead and send that communication. It's a BCC email if you choose more than one student to, hey, a lot of you are missing this assignment, or a lot of you haven't looked at this particular announcement. Be sure to check it out.
Awesome. I think we had one more question, and then we'll jump on to number one. Paris. Patricia from Facebook is wondering, when she sends an email, needs to make a correction using Grammarly, the email deletes itself. She has to start over. Did you know that? And why does that happen?
That is odd. I have Grammarly installed on my computer. I'll have to try that. I wonder if it's just not playing well with Canvas because it's an external plugin. And I'm assuming by email you mean the Canvas conversations. I don't know. That's a really good question. I've never had that happen, but that's something to test. I'll have to play with that.
And I've never tested that. I know Grammarly, and I've used it in the past. That one thing I would check, this is just my support brain coming on, is check the browser that you're using. Usually what I use is Chrome or Firefox, but I would go ahead and try Canvas and Chrome and see if that works.
And see if your plugin has any updates as well. I would check that too.
I lied again. Here's another question. What do I need to do if students get an error message while trying to submit an annotated PDF?
So, I mean, it depends kind of on the error message and what the error message the student is getting. So if we got a question like that in support, we'd start by asking a couple different things. We'd want to know what the error message is that they're getting, because once we know what the error message is, then we can kind of troubleshoot specifically from there. If your school's a tier 1 client, I'd usually suggest when you have students that run into issues, have them utilize the support option, because it's easier for them to just directly reach out to us and then we can work with them. Otherwise, typically go-tos is I usually would tell a student, try another browser. There might just be something in their browser that's not working. It's actually pretty common that students are running really out-of-date browsers. I think once I even saw Internet Explorer 5. So I want to make sure everyone's up to date.
Another thing that you can do is that you can have that student email you that their exact submission. So go through the Canvas inbox and have them send you the file that they're trying to submit. And guess what? You can use Student View now. Go into your Student View and try to submit with Student View that copy. See if you can reproduce that error that they're seeing. If you can't reproduce it and it just goes in just fine, it might be a browser issue.
Yep.
Awesome. Let's go on to number 1.
Before I do number 1 here, and I know Paris is smiling because this is the number 1 reported Canvas issue, I'm just going to throw it out there to the audience. Who can guess what is the number 1 Canvas support call in? What's the largest call driver that we got there? So, Mark, let's see if anybody can guess it. I think someone's going to get it, but I'm just throwing it out there. Hey, Mark, do you know what it is?
I have no idea. Oh, actually, now that Kendra just put that up, something not being published, I'm guessing that that's what it is. Oh, they're not giving us anything. Kendra, they're not even playing. Any other guesses?
I'm going to put it up there. All right. Well, anyways, the number 1 support issue that gets called in, and it's usually by students or it's for teachers on behalf of their students, is that I can't access a module. All right. That's the number 1 call driver. In fact, I would say that was probably one of the reasons why I joined training. It's like, what if I joined training and improve the training around modules? We could go ahead and lower the call volume for this particular question. All right. And here's the reason why. I'm going to go ahead and head back over here into a course and head over and use the student view to kind of show you what's happening. Again, utilize that student view. If a student's telling you, hey, something's happening in my course, don't just click on it. It'll most likely work for you because you're the teacher of the course. You're the designer. Use the student view so you can see, okay, looks like, they can't see this and whatnot. So I'm going to go, I'm a student in the course now using my student view. I'm going to click on module 1, one of my buttons, access denied. All right. And that's the only thing they're going to see. They're not going to be able to go to module 2, module 3. So I'm going to go and leave student view for now. And the reason why that we're seeing that, and I'm going into the modules area, is that a lot of times when we build modules out, we see all this green stuff. Published. That green is the sign of being published. So we think like, okay, they can see all this stuff here, and go to module number 2 right here. Let me expand it. And there's all this green stuff going on. All right. So from an educator perspective, if we have tunnel vision there, we're like, well, that should be working. I've published all the content pieces in the module. But what a lot of educators and teachers are missing is that they haven't published the modules themselves. And what you've effectively done is you've put a lot of great content that you want your students to access. You've put it into a locked box. All right. They don't know it even exists if it's not published. So make sure if you want students to access content in your modules, or if you get a student saying, hey, I can't see something in the module, I can't access week 1 module. When I click on I get access denied, check this first. That's usually the very first thing that teachers miss when they build a module, is they don't click on that publish button so students can access it.
Yeah, and something also to be aware, because if you have your assignments linked throughout your course and they click on the assignment, the students will then get a message that says, hey, this assignment 1 is part of a unpublished module. And for students, that verbiage is kind of confusing sometimes because they're like, I don't even know what unpublished and I don't even know what modules is, but I need help and I want to access my assignments. But yeah, so common. This is a huge call driver and it's just a tiny little circle. That'll fix it.
And one of the reasons why is that the student wouldn't necessarily, sometimes they're not just going directly to the module and getting that error. Notice that this assignment is in week 1, all right? And it's in week 1 of an unpublished module. So from a student's perspective, when they're in the home page, their to-do list is usually right here on the right-hand side. So, let me actually switch over here to student view. Their to-do list is there. So if they see one of their assignments that they need to do in week 1, like say this week 1 quiz, if they try to click on it, that is right there, taking this quiz as part of an unpublished module and not available yet. All right. So not necessarily going directly to the modules to get the error, but they're on their dashboard, they're in the course, the to-do list is saying, hey, you've got an assignment due this week. They click on it, they can't access that assignment because again, it's in an unpublished module and number 1 call driver within Canvas support.
This is another one of those things that as support agents, when we run into that, so especially if a student contacts us, we'll tie in the teacher and let them know. Sometimes we'll include a little screenshot being like, click on this little bubble or a little circle and everything will be good. So we'll always tie in the teachers, letting them know, hey, students can't access your stuff and they're sad about it.
Sandy, we can see Sandy here mentioned that she had a ticket on this yesterday. Hopefully there's about 150 other people watching right now who also have a ticket currently that your minds were just blown and your problems are solved. Any other questions, everybody? I see that Karen has another question for us here. When I click on people, I can't see the 3 dots to access the drop-down menu where the activity report would be located. What do I need to change in settings to see it?
Let's see.
I'll go ahead.
When you're on people, and when you want to view their activity, so when you're on the people page, you'll just click on your student's name, and it'll usually it'll pop out the little side menu. I'll let Woody kind of.
I think here, Karen, are you talking about this right here? You don't see this at all? That might be an issue with your permissions on what teachers have as far as a permission level to be able to access those items. I would also make sure to check those browsers. If you're using a browser that isn't Chrome, Firefox, or Microsoft Edge, you might not see certain things that you should see on the screen. But I would, again, look at browser and look at permission levels. And hopefully I'm kind of zeroing in that you're talking about this particular item right here. And
then typically, Woody, will you click on one of your students' names for me? Just anyone. So usually, and you can also try it this way, it'll pop out the name, and then go ahead and click on where it says junior up top for me, Woody. Yep, that one. And then that'll take you to your students users page once it loads. And then over on the far right, then that's where you'll see the access report.
Awesome.
And you can also get to new analytics there as well.
Awesome stuff. Other questions? Other questions for these 2 illustrious trainers? Okay, Woody and Paris, wrap us up.
Well, anyways, I just want to say, thank you for all of you attending today's session. We really enjoy this one-on-one contact while we're having it right now. And we're going to be seeing you giving presentations from the training team every other week. So take a look out for us. Paris?
Cool. Yeah, no, this is super fun. And it's going over some of the top support issues. Hopefully this stuff will help you guys when you guys do run into tickets or have questions from students and teachers, or even when you guys run into these issues yourself, then hopefully it empowers you to know how to fix them.
And definitely check out our community. Go in the Canvas community. You can take a look at training services to learn more about us.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody, for joining. I know we got to most of the questions. For those that we didn't, we're so sorry. We still love you. We still are grateful we have you in the community. we do have, we're doing these every single day, Monday through Friday, talking about some key thing around Canvas. Training team is every Wednesday. So stay plugged into that, put it on your calendar, and we'll see many of you tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Mountain. Thanks for coming.